Hey, algebra students. This week you guys are graphing inequalities and also systems of inequalities. So we're going to go over some of the practice problems together. So letter number 1, A through D, we would graph all of these the same way, and we would graph them the same way we would if, instead of having a less than or equal to sign or a less than or greater than sign, it was an equal to sign. So just as if we were graphing this, I would start at the y-intercept, which is 0, -4. So right down here, my slope is positive.
Second lane, second lane,
so my slope is positive. It's positive 2/1. So a rise of 2, run of 1. So we would go up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. All right, so now the only difference, well, now we're starting to get into the differences. So the difference is, instead of making automatically a straight line connecting all those dots, I have to look at that inequality sign. So if it's just less than or just equal to, I'm going to do a dotted line. If it is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, that's when I do my solid line, okay? So I have graphed letter A, I'm almost done. I graphed it just as if it was an equation, and except I'm just doing a dashed line instead of a solid line. So now I have to shade the parts of that graph that would make this true, because this doesn't say y is equal to this, it says y is less than this. So any number for y to make this true would be part of the solution set. So think about a coordinate plane. If you want a number greater than, you're going to shade up. If you want a number less than, you're going to shade down. So less than would be down, shade down. Greater than is shade up. Since this is less than, we're going to fill in this section to the right of or beneath my line. And the video that was part of this lesson and the work part of this lesson said really what you need to do is you need to pick a coordinate, plug it into the equation, see if it's true or false. They recommended, the video, it recommended that you always use the origin. So the origin is 0, 0. So let's go ahead and plug in 0, 0. So we don't have the origin as part of this solution set. So let's plug it in here and see if it isn't part of the solution set. So if y is 0, 0 less than 2 times 0 minus 4.
Buses in lane 3, load buses, and all remaining bus riders load the bus.
So 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 4 is -4. So is 0 less than -4? No, that's not true. And that makes sense to us because if we look up here, 0, 0 is not included in our solution set, okay? All right, so look at letter B. How is letter B going to look different than letter A? Well, the numbers are all the same, so the line looks the same. The difference is we're not shading below anymore because now our inequality sign is greater than. So if you have an inequality sign of greater than, you're going to shade above the line. So start at the line, point up, and wherever on the graph you see part of the, if I go up from here, it's this direction, correct? All right, so then once again, if we plugged in 0, 0 to this, we would find that that is a true statement. 0, 0 is included in that solution set. All right, so that was B. Let's go to D. Now, the only difference between B and D is that or equal to. So instead of having a dashed line, the only difference is going to be, it's going to be a solid line. Now that is the graph of D. And so what about the difference in A and C? Whoops, didn't mean to do that. The difference in A and C, wish my pen would stay on, would be that the solution set is not going to be above the line, it's going to be below the line. So it's going to be a solid line. So this is letter C. It's a solid line, and we shaded below the line, okay? Wow, what a mess. What a mess, you guys. All right, so there are always steps you can follow for graphing inequalities. So number one, rearrange the inequality into slope-intercept form if it isn't already. Second thing you're going to do is start with the y-intercept and then use the slope to figure out if you're going up and to the right or down and to the right. The third thing you're going to do is decide, do I need a dashed line or a solid line? So then make that line. Number four, you're going to decide, am I going to shade above or am I shading below the line? And then finally, you're going to test a point like the origin to see if you shaded in the correct direction. So let's look at letter A here. This is not in slope-intercept form, so we're going to put it in slope-intercept form, which means we're just going to solve for y. So we're going to bring down negative y. This is gone, right? We bring down our inequality sign. We write these unlike terms horizontally. Now we haven't solved for y because that says negative y. So we got to divide everything by -1. When you divide by a negative, what happens to the inequality sign? It flips. We have a negative divided by a negative, which is positive. And then a positive divided by negative is a negative. All right, so we're going to start at our y-intercept, which is -3. Our rise is 6/1, so we're going to go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1. Now, am I going to make a dotted line or a solid line? I'm going to make a dotted line. It's a very steep line. And now, do I shade above or below my line? So, greater than. I had to flip it because I divided by a -1. So I'm going to go above this line, which is all in this area. So if I picked 0, 0 and plugged it in, it should be true because it's part of my solution set, correct? It's in the shaded area if I shaded it all in. So if I'm going to test 0, 0, 6 times 0 is 0 minus y, if y is 0. So 0 minus 0 is 0 is 0 less than 3. Yes, that's true. And it should be because it's part of my solution set. All right, let's see what else. So letter B and C, remember how we use the acronyms Bucks, Hoy? So if you only have an X in the equation, that means you're going to make a vertical line. So we're going to come down here to, a vertical line is this way, right? So we're going to find -2 on our graph. And we are making a solid line. Why are we making a solid line? Because of it says or equal to, okay? So think about greater than. If we want a value that's greater than -2, isn't that going right on a coordinate plane? This one you can't say up or down because it's a vertical line. But hopefully greater than makes sense to you if we are going to go right on a coordinate plane, because as you go right on a coordinate plane, the numbers get larger, correct? So all of this for infinity is, there's an infinite number of solutions, right? All these numbers over here are greater than -2. Is 3 greater than -2? Is 5 greater than -2? Yes. And then letter C, let's just change colors. I'm not going to erase all that, but this is a horizontal line. And it's not going to be a solid line. It's going to be a dashed line. So we're going to go up here to 5 on the x-axis, and we're going to make a horizontal line all the way across. And it says less than. So on a coordinate plane, what numbers are less than? Numbers below, right? So the numbers below 5 are all less than 5. Woo, isn't that a mess? It's a mess. but that's the way you do it. All right, let's write and graph an inequality for the following scenario. So Jeff received a $30 gift card for his birthday. So if you have $30, can you spend $30? Yes. Can you spend more than $30? No. Can you spend less than $30? Yes. So if we have $30, we can spend less than or equal to $30. Now he wants to buy baseball cards for $2 each and comic books for $3 each. He wants to know how many he can buy of each or in what combinations. So $2 times the number of baseball cards plus $3 times the number of comic books. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. We're going to put it in slope-intercept form. And now we're going to divide everything by 3. So y is less than or equal to negative 2/3 x plus 10. Now, I only included quadrant 1 on this. Why would I not include the other 3 quadrants? Because going in this direction, my x's would be negative, and going in this direction, my y's would be negative, correct? And what's wrong with those negative numbers in this scenario? It's because you can't have a negative amount of baseball cards or a negative amount of comic books, right? So you got to make sure your solution set includes only numbers that would make sense, that work. All right, so we're going to graph this. We're going to start at our y-intercept, which is 10. We're going to go down to right 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't get y values big enough, but we'll be able to see most of our solution set. So I am making a solid line. Why am I making a solid line? Because it says or equal to. Whoops. All right, and then I would shade below up through my x and y axes, because I can buy 0 baseball cards and 0 comic books, correct? Because I can spend less than $30. And if I bought 0 and 0, I would spend $0. All right, so everything here is part of my solution set. So for example, what is this? Let me change colors. What is this point right there? Well, it says that x is 5 and y is 5. So if I bought 5 baseball cards, that would be what, $10. If I bought 5 comic books, that's $15. And doesn't 15 plus 10, isn't that less than 30? It is. All right, I could buy 10 and 1. I could have X number, I could have 10 baseball cards and 1 comic book, and that would be $23, which is less than $30. So all of the shaded area represents my solutions, okay? So since this line is dotted, since this line is solid, that means that 6, 6 is part of my solution set. I could buy 6 baseball cards for $12, and I could buy 6 comic books for $18, and 18 plus 12 is 30, which that is equal to 30. So I am allowed to buy 6 and 6. All right, so here's one of the problems I saw when I was looking at your practice problems, and the question is, what is part of the solution set? So first thing I'm going to do, I need to change colors, can't see yellow. So I'm just going to graph these lines. So I'm going to start the first one. I'm going to start at +1, and I'm going to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, and it's greater than. So that tells me I'm shading up here. These look like 7s, but they're supposed to be arrows. Okay? So all of these sections above are supposed to be shaded. And then this one, I'm going to solve for y first. So I'm going to subtract x from the right side. So I'm going to bring my sign over, negative x minus 1. So let me change colors. I'm going to do red. So we're going to start at -1. -1. There we go. Got lost for a second. And then I have a negative slope. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, up 1, left 1, the opposite. And it says, first of all, it's solid. And that one was solid as well. And then we are shading below. So this isn't part of the first selection. So this isn't part of the first solution set. C and D are not. So I know that the part that is the solution that would be shaded in by both of these equations or inequalities would be part B. Part B. All right, so that's how you're going to do that. Now, I wanted to show you guys, let me shut this off right here. I wanted to show you guys how to use Cami, which is a Chrome extension. Sometimes it's easier if you just write directly on your screen, but you can't do that unless you have some sort of program like Cami. So you can all download it. It's very easy to download. You can just probably Google how to do that, but all of you have it on your computers. All right, so let's say I'm doing this little quiz and I get to question number 5, and it wants to know of all these letters, which ones are part of the solution set. Well, I wouldn't have no idea unless I can actually graph this. So what I would do is I would snip a picture of this. I'm gonna snip this picture. And then I don't know the best way to do it, but I do know that I can, let's just start. Well, I'll just start a new one. All right, so I'm gonna start a new PowerPoint. And you guys probably know an even easier way to do this than I do. And then I'm just gonna save this real quick as a PDF. All right, so I'm just gonna save as this PC practice number 5, and I'm going to save it as a PDF. Save. Now the reason I did that is because I want to use Cami, and it's going to ask me how I want to open it. All right, so do you see, once you download Cami, you're going to get this little thing, this little icon right here. It's tiny, but it looks like a puzzle piece. So when I hit extensions, there it is. Once I've downloaded Cami, K-A-M-I, I'm going to open it, and it's going to ask me if I want to open my Google Drive, but I just downloaded that image to my computer. So I'm going to open that little picture there it is, practice number 5. And it's opening it in Cami. So there's my picture. Well, now I could use my mouse and I can write directly on my screen, or of course you guys know I use this slate and this pen. So I want to, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this for y equals, or y is less than. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And then when I graph it, I'm going to come up here, +10, and then I have a negative slope, so I would go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Anyway, I think I messed up. But it's a dashed line, and I know I'm shading below, okay? Below this line. And then I'm going to take the second equation, or inequality, excuse me, I'm going to solve it for y, and then I'm going to shade, I'll also shade down because I'm going to end up dividing by a negative number. And so then now I can write directly on my screen. I don't have to print anything off, and I don't have to recreate anything on graph paper. So I was helping one of you guys, you know who you are, the other day, and anyway, he ended up downloading this and it helped him. So I said, oh, I should show everyone that. So just go to your little dots over here and click on more tools and click on extensions. And that's how you would download, or anyway, that's how you would get Kami, K-A-M-I. And I already have it because I've already downloaded it, but it's on your Chromebook. So all of you have that capability. All right, guys, so hopefully that helped some of you. And now you guys can solve inequality. So everybody have a good week. If you need my help with anything, let me know. Talk to you soon.